I platinumed Monster Hunter World Iceborne, and just like before, it was an exhilarating as well as an exhausting experience. What do I mean by before? That's because I previously platinumed Monster Hunter World, and I'd recommend you watch it before continuing this video. Its expansion, Iceborne, was lucky enough to receive a platinum trophy list. There were a total of 50 trophies. The platinum itself, 2 golds, 11 silver, and 36 bronzes. This journey had me playing through the story, gathering miscellaneous trophies like spending time in a hot spring, to capturing fantastical and mysterious creatures, to yet another long grind for a trophy. Before we dive into the story of Monster Hunter Iceborne, there was a trophy unlocked during my initial playthrough of World, and that was to use my first raider ride, which I'd done by simply walking up to this creature and pressing circle. So now let's dive into the story. We go on an expedition with the handler into the ancient forest, as there are reports of a Legiana and nobody knows why it's there. We find tracks of it until we reach a dead end, where we then see it with our own eyes, and it turns out to be an entire colony of them flying across the open sea. We begin to hear another creature and see it harassing them, eventually revealing an island in the far distance. Returning to the headquarters, the commander discusses that the Legiana had been leaving the New World, flying far out into the open sea. The director explains that they are not known for long-distance migration, nor for abandoning their primary habitats, and that is an ecological mystery as to why they are leaving, being either something has affected their biological nature, or they've been driven out by some change in their habitat. The committee concludes focusing all available resources on investigating the Legiana issue. By using the 3rd Fleet's airship, it would allow us to cross the sea, to spot the best landing area, and help us get an idea of the surroundings. Boarding the airship, it turns out this island is a landmass, and the currents are getting too dangerous to continue. But as we're nearly there, we take our winddrake to find a safe place for them to land. It's a cold environment, from all the snow, and we set up a camp before we freeze to death. Luckily, hot peppers grow within this environment, and this allows us to make hot drinks, which grant us resistance to the freezing temperatures, as otherwise our stamina bar will decrease over time. As we look for an area for the airship to safely land, we encounter our first monster, the Beotodus, who submerges itself in the snow and pounces from below. After successfully slaying it, we would pop 2 trophies, in hunting our first large monster in Master Rank, and the second for earning the right to take on 1-star Master Rank assignments. With the area now secured, we fire a flare, allowing the airship to land. This means we can set up a base of operations, just like in Astera. The commander asks us to go on an expedition into the uncharted territory to guarantee a safe route for the construction materials arriving from Astera. We investigate the area and find an entire pathway blocked by fallen trees. The area begins to shake as a Bambaro charges through, a huge monster capable of rolling up large amounts of debris to throw at you, and after some time we defeat it, allowing the construction materials to safely arrive, which allows us to upgrade the base fully and declare it as Celiana. This means our search of the Legiana can begin, in which we'll need to go on another expedition again into what is known as the Hoarfrost Reach. Finding some tracks, I would accidentally get 2 trophies, one for spending some time in a natural hot spring, and the other for capturing a creature with a golden gleam. We follow the tracks until we reach a cavern and meet the tracker, who tells us that we're both heading the same way, which is a tiny opening. Unfortunately, we're ambushed by a Viper Tobikadachi, a subspecies who now have poison built into their attacks. After dealing with it, we follow the tracker deeper into the cavern, where we come across a frozen ship, older than the commission itself. Digging around, she comes across a scroll and a shard. She recognizes the handwriting and explains that it was long before the First Fleet was dispatched, and that there was an explorer searching for the New World, hoping that their paths would cross again. The scroll says, "Monsters displaying disturbing behavior. Song. I found a shard. I'm not sure how it was created. I need to check," and the rest of it is unreadable. The Legiana's sudden migration and song, the notes we found, it's happening right now, meaning the shard could be the key to the mystery. More of the crew joins and tells us we need to head back to Astera as they need hunters ASAP. The handler then pulls out her grandfather's gift, a shard like the one we've just acquired. The tracker, astounded at that he bought it from the New World, and thinking that they have been getting to the truth, but far from it. They'll do it together to find out what really happened, meaning we'll have another handler for the time being. With the mission finished, we unlock the right to take on 2-star Master Rank assignments. New subspecies have been discovered around Astera, and the Analytics Division theorizes that the sudden appearance of new subspecies may be linked to whatever caused the Legiana crossing. Their theory is that some sort of change in the environment has upset their normal behavior, so we'll have to hunt them and gather reports for the team. We hunt the coral Pookie Pookie, which now has the ability to store water within its body and expel it at high speeds. Then we move on to the Nightshade Palumu, who can now put its foes to sleep. I'd pick up 2 trophies during these hunts, for obtaining my first gold crown for capturing endemic life in master rank, as well as my first miniature crown, after just aimlessly firing my capture net into a pond. With the work in Astera done, the commander urges us to go back to Celiana, as there have been a series of Barioth sightings. A monster that resembles a saber-toothed tiger with agile and powerful attacks. However, with flash pods and shock traps at our disposal, we're able to sever its tail and get the kill. We stumble across the handler and tracker. They talk about what they discovered, such as the ship being covered in gashes from an attack, which the Barioth is not capable of, meaning something far more dangerous is living here, as well as an additional new shard. As we discuss, something ominous appears.
Whatever made this must be close.
How about you? Find out anything? Frozen monsters. Huh. Barioths aren't known for that sort of thing.
So then... Singing? Flock. No. It's heading for Astera.
My word. Everyone thought it was just a mere myth. But there it is. Velkhana.
With the cutscene finish, we'd earned the right to take on 3-star Master Rank assignments. We return to Astera where a meeting is being held. After discussing we've been seeing frozen creatures around, it is declared that the culprit is an elder dragon known as Velkhana, the Iceborne Wyvern, and very few sightings have ever been officially recorded, but they have all been by mountaineers or explorers that venture deep into the bleakest, coldest extremes in the world. Records say it could freeze other creatures with the merest breath or flap of its wings, but they always assume these reports were exaggerated. If an elder dragon this powerful has awoken, then it's all but proof of some drastic change in the environment, in which we can consider the Legiana crossing to be the clearest sign of that change. As it has travelled the sea to Astera, we must now go on a series of expeditions to find tracks of it. We fight a variety of monsters like the sharp-tailed Glavenus, capable of igniting its tail for a devastating attack, to the Nagakuga with its extreme agility, the brutal Tigrex who uses every ounce of its muscle to drive its overwhelming charge, and the explosive Brachiodos with its powerful punches and volatile slime. Throughout these hunts, I would pick up some trophies, the first for using Raider Ride many times, and the second for equipping my first pendant, which is simply a cosmetic that I can put onto my weapon. During the downtime of each hunt, we would witness the true power of Velkhana, as a completely frozen Anjanath has been discovered. An elder dragon capable of freezing such large monsters will destroy the ecosystem, which we're also a part of, meaning our time to find Velkhana is now. Our gathering of tracks leads us to the Elder's Recess. After somewhat deterring a transformed Velkhana, it would return to the hinterlands where the tracker has stumbled across another scroll, when seismic action begins to occur, altering the terrain to fall around her. Back in Astera, we have a meeting. It is discussed that we have no idea why it transformed, let alone what reason it had for going to the Elder's Recess, and that on the handler's personal theory, instead of retreating, it simply left after finishing whatever it had gone there to do. So what could be the reason why an Elder Dragon from an Arctic environment have for travelling to the Everstream and the Elder's Recess, in which the analytics director says it might have something to do with the startling metamorphosis of its outer shell, which has resulted in it in building unbelievable strength, and Celiana could be in danger. We go and investigate the Hoarfrost Reach, where we discover the scroll and notice the tracker's headband down the cliff, when a swarm of Legiana appear in the sky, but it's a new subspecies, the Shrieking Legiana. Shrouded in white frost, it specializes in freezing prey with the powerful chill it emits, then swooping down to strike at them from overhead. We target its most vulnerable parts, such as the wings and the head, successfully slaying the monster. The handler finds the tracker and we get her back to safety. The scroll has more writing from her master's studies. The song, the monster's behaviour, their effect in the ecosystem, seismic action, the old everworm, I'm out of time, my story ends here. Could it be about Velkhana? The shard originates from here, meaning its nest should be nearby. And we unlock 2 trophies, one for earning the right to take on 4-star master rank assignments, and the other for hunting our first variant monster. We have another issue before tackling Velkhana, and that's the report of a subspecies of Anjanath in the Hoarfrost Reach that we need to deal with as weapon shipments are arriving from Astera. The Vulgar Anjanath. This subspecies fortifies itself with electricity that it charges with its jaws. Luckily, we get to witness a turf war between it and the Tigrex, giving us the advantage, and we deliver the final blow. On our way back to Celiana, the base has been improved with the addition of the Steamworks engine, where I would unlock 3 trophies. For this device, you put in fuel such as certain materials, and by doing so, you will increase the gauge of it. By helping it 20 times, it unlocks Eager Engineer. And the second trophy is to send it into overdrive, where you'll gradually see the gauge turn from yellow to orange to red. By reaching the end of the gauge, the trophy unlocks. I would then go into my room, where I would be notified that I had 50 different types of room decor to choose from, unlocking the trophy. We then have to return to Astera, as they need more hunters to take on new reported subspecies, like the acidic Glavenus that has a corrosive fluid crystallized on its tail, spraying acid with each swing, and the ebony Odogaron, forever on the prowl for its next meal, and is often seen carrying fresh kill in its mouth. Reports indicate it goes into a frenzy upon eating. With the convoy of supplies now delivered to Celiana, final preparations are underway on the Dragon Razor, which will need to be completed in hope to drive back Velkhana, in which there are sightings just outside of Celiana's gates. We'll need to protect the barrier from Velkhana to stall for the time until the Dragon Razor is finished.
Get that Dragon Razor!
Velkhana is successfully repelled, but we do not know when it could strike again, so we'll bring the fight to it. Velkhana is slain. The Seeker joins us saying he has some terrible news. While the fleet are examining Velkhana's nest, they discover unnatural fault lines all over the place, pointing to frequent seismic action throughout the area. But we've been unable to figure out how it connects to Velkhana, nor what's causing the songs. The Seeker says it appears that everything is connected. The Legiana's behaviour and the rejuvenated Velkhana are a simple byproduct of this phenomenon. If we don't put a stop to it, the ecosystem irregularities will continue. The connection being the old Everworm, when the song could be heard again, and seismic action begins to happen throughout the environment. Concluding the mission, we unlock a trophy for earning the right to take on 5-star master rank assignments. Now the guild must investigate the regions to find more locations linking the songs and seismic action. Our job is to monitor the monster's behaviour. We go on an expedition to the Elder's Recess where we meet the Admiral and the iconic Nergigante fawns, when we're ambushed by a seething Basilgus, dropping explosives as his scales burn hotter than normal, increasing in number and explosion radius as time passes. With it defeated, we're able to continue our investigation. Traces of Nergigante is surprisingly good news, as it means it's on the hunt for something big. The 5th Fleet has also found traces of other Elder Dragons, and perhaps seeking them out will help us uncover information about the old Everworm, like the Black Veil of Al-Hazak with its annoying toxic effluvium, cutting your health in half if you don't come prepared, to the luminous Namiel, capable of commanding water to throw you off balance, as well as using its Thunderblight element for even more damage. After a triumphant victory against the two, we return to Celiana, where everyone now has their results from the investigation into the old Everworm, a pattern of where the songs have been heard, as well as the seismic actions, a spiral that follows the Everstream. Adding our Elder Dragon research, it cements it even further, and that a remote island has been discovered following the line of the spiral, where the old Everworm should be located. Before taking our leave, I would unlock 2 trophies, one for changing my room's interior for the first time, and the other for obtaining 5 extremely rare pieces of armor, which means pieces at rank 12. These usually come from Elder Dragon monsters like Velkhana. The old Everworm, from what we know, has the power to obliterate ecosystems from their very foundation, meaning we must put a stop to it, and we take the airship to the remote island known as Origin Isle, where we suddenly meet Ruiner Nergigante. Just like before, it's an agile and hard-hitting monster, but this subspecies of it has the ability to harden its spikes as the battle goes on. Paying attention to this is key, as it allows you to see where you should aim your attacks for the most optimal damage output. With Nergigante out of the way, the song would be heard once again.
This is something too big for us to take on. We gotta escape. Retreat now. Seriously?
Understood. Don't worry about him. He can handle himself. I know. I've been his partner this whole time. Believe me, he's the only one who can do this. He's a master hunter of the 5th Fleet. The best we have.
Make sure you get a good look at that thing. And you better come back in one piece.
Job done, as expected.
All right, time to head back.
Impossible. Time for round two? All right! You want some? Come get some!
It's alive?
The old Everworm is defeated, and we celebrate as well as discuss the Legiana abnormality, Velcana, and the other Elder Dragons were tied to it. It is deduced the Nergigante species is nature's mechanism to combat the irregularities in the ecosystem that would threaten it from destruction, and we conclude the main story of Monster Hunter World Iceborne. I would now go and collect some miscellaneous trophies before delving into the post-game, such as establishing all camps in the Hoarfrost Reach by finding suitable locations and delivering the required materials for them to be built. I would then complete a certain side quest to study the ways of the Clutch Claw. Basically, this thing is one of your most important tools, allowing you to attach yourself to a monster and force them to go into a certain direction, like a wall, for massive damage. In addition, its primary function allows you to create weak spots on the monsters, allowing you to maximize your damage outputs. Next up was Architectural Artist, and that was to have 120 different types of room decor to choose from. They could be obtained in several ways, such as buying items from the housekeeper and seasonal events. Just like before in Worlds Platinum, there are several rare creatures to catch in several areas. You'll need your ghillie mantle to not scare the creatures away, as well as your capture net equipped. In addition, you may need to constantly enter and leave the region to get them to appear. However, there is now a meal you can make that grants you an increased spawn rate of these rare creatures. Feline Zoo Master. It isn't easy to get though, as you have to do a variety of pickups and quests to gather the necessary ingredients before making the meal. I would capture 2 of the 6 creatures, unlocking 2 trophies, and I'll come back to the others later as we go by chronological order of trophies rather than grouping them into sections. Into the post-game story, we would follow Ruina Nergigante, where it would take us to an extraordinary place, where all ecosystems coexist on a singular island. It would be named as the Guiding Lands. Basically, you can slay pretty much every monster here. Every time you slay them and gather research points in a region, it will level up over time, where more powerful monsters are introduced, then eventually tempered ones. So what's the point of this? Mainly the layered armor to make your character look cool, the post-game story, and of course the several trophies tied to it, such as the trophy for reaching the Guiding Lands, and gathering materials at rare outcrops and bone piles. After enough time of gathering materials at regular outcrops and bone piles in one area, you'll notice the next one will be gigantic, granting you a rare piece of material. At this point, I would need to raise my master rank high enough to remove the cap, and you raise your master rank by slaying monsters, so it made sense to combine crown hunting to reduce the overall time this platinum would take. If you had watched the Monster Hunter World Platinum, I explained it there. But if you didn't, don't worry, I'll explain it. Nearly every monster in the game can be a different size when you fight it, but there are a few sizes that classify as a miniature gold crown and a large gold crown, which are the ones you need for the trophies and not the meaningless silver crown. Silver large, what is the point? Stupid silver crowns, get out of here. Back-to-back silver crowns. In the base game, we hunted 28 monsters for 56 crowns, and if my counting is correct, Iceborne does the same. Typically, you would use investigations of a certain rarity. For example, as seen on this table, having at least 1 silver and at least 1 gold reward slot grants you a 6% chance of a miniature and 3% of a giant, while having 4 or more gold would increase the 3% of a giant to 6%. This is where you'll spend most of your time for Elder Dragons, as luckily for several monsters, there are these quests with with increased chance of getting either crowns. I almost forgot, there are also guaranteed crowns for several monsters. In addition, investigations are limited, as you can see by the number, meaning if you run out, you'll have to go out of your way to get more, but there isn't exactly a way to guarantee them, as they are random chance from picking up tracks, to breaking parts, to slaying monsters. I would pick up a few crowns here and there when I would reach 100 large monsters hunted in Master Rank quests for a trophy, but it would be a very long time before popping either of the crown trophies, so I decided to unlock some easier ones, such as helping a low rank or high rank hunter on 10 quests as a Master Rank hunter, which is done by filtering the SOS searches, and by joining their quest to complete the task 10 times, it would unlock Helpful Hunter. Then I would capture 50 large monsters and hunt 30 variant monsters. I then reached the level cap of Master Rank and would unlock a quest to slay Ruina Nergigante in the Guiding Lands. By doing so, the cap would be lifted and unlock a trophy. Following up in the Guiding Lands, I would slay a total of 50 Elder Dragons in Master Rank and raise a region to level 7. While unlocking those trophies, I would continue the post-story, where we would discover a Kirin with a broken horn, which was caused by the ultra-aggressive Rajang, a powerful and agile beast that can unleash electricity-based attacks when angered, and the Stygon Sinoga, a fanged wyvern that becomes even more dangerous when covered in light. After dealing with these monsters, we would be alerted of a cavern deep within by the Seeker. In this cavern would lay shedded skin resembling Xenojiva, and we would notice the rejuvenated creature fly by. Too dangerous to take on, we return to the council. This leads into the Safi'jiiva Siege, only accessible in the Gathering Hub. The siege is best taken upon a full lobby of players, which is 16, where groups of 4 take on Safi'jiiva and try to break as many parts of it as possible to gain points to increase your overall rewards at the end. I would pick up a trophy here for obtaining 5 extremely rare weapons, and one of them would be the strongest in the game for me to use, the Safi Aquashot, a light bowgun that can be awoken from the other materials you gain from the siege. By placing augments on it such as damage increases and lifesteal, with the additions of decorations for further helpful skills, I'd be able to destroy monsters easier and quicker than ever before. I also decided to go get the final armor set in the game, as not only would it increase my defenses, I could also put many decorations into them, which are a variety of jewels that provide the skills I was previously talking about. I had to fight through a Latreon, known as the symbol of destruction and rumoured to control all the elements, which meant I could then fight Fatalis. Surprisingly, you can obtain this legendary armor set through part breaks, meaning you never actually have to kill Fatalis. It pushes your ability as a hunter from its instant killing attacks and unpredictability to the 30-minute hunt time. Don't worry though, we did kill it. Not once, but twice. The best gear at my disposal, I continued onwards to the Platinum Trophy, like reaching Master Rank 200. I then returned to capture the rest of the rare creatures. 2 of them would come from the Guiding Lands, specifically this mole-looking creature for 1 trophy, and the other for capturing 1 in each of the regions, but I believe this trophy is bugged, as I only had to capture 2, 1 in the Ancient Forest and the others in the Elder's Recess. I then went to the Wildspire Waste to capture a creature that creates a beautiful melody, and lastly, the tedious one of them all, to capture a fantastical creature that floats through the sky. It is specifically found in the Hoarfrost Reach, but it needs to be nighttime, and the weather needs to be clear, otherwise it will not spawn. It also has one of the longest routes to get to it. After that, it was time to get back into crown hunting. This is where measuring the monster would come in handy, check against the guide if it resembles it close enough, you go for the kill. Using the correct investigations, SOS flares for specific monsters, I even made a message saying crown hunting to see if other players were. Surprisingly, I did get responses and a few invited me to their lobby after. And even cloud saves, as if you run out of investigations, you'll have to go out of your way to get more. So after hours upon hours of crown hunting, I would eventually achieve both trophies. Yes, it's done! It is done! The crowns are done. Even though I would have all the crowns, I now needed to maximize the research level for almost all large monsters. This meant slaying them or capturing them, breaking parts, picking up tracks for resource points, and with the Scholar's Charm, it would speed up the process for the trophy. Next, I would visit the Linean Researcher. He gives you a camera and specific comments on what he wants to see, meaning you'll have to visit certain areas at certain times with certain monsters. Thankfully, some of them are easier than others, like taking taking a few pictures in the gathering hub, we'd get a trophy for completing our first request, and another for completing 20 of them. Returning to the guiding lands, I would have to analyze 50 special tracks, which is done by either slaying and capturing monsters or breaking their parts. Even though we're so close to the platinum, these last few trophies are some of the most tedious ones in the game, even over crown hunting, as these do not even involve hunting monsters. They are to find all the treasure around the regions. Every region has 10 treasures to collect, but first, you need to level up the tribes of each area to at least level 7. This would take a while normally, so we're going to use an alternative method. That firstly involves getting the Tail Rider signal, where you'll need to unlock all the other Palico gadgets beforehand to get a quest to unlock it. Now that we have the signal, we equip the wide range perk and travel to a region, then walk outside where we can summon the Tail Rider and return to the handler at camp. We then drink a potion and claim the rewards from the handler. You'll notice the experience goes up. Now drink another potion and claim the rewards until you reach the required level for each region. This will now unlock Paw Swap, where we can trade a selection of items to the tribes. One of them will be ecstatic for the item. You give it to them, and sometimes they'll give you treasure tips, and they are a riddle to find the treasure, but I ended up just looking at a guide for the locations. You go gather the treasure, and now return to Paw Swap to do more trades. The catch is, you can only do 3 trades to them at a time. You then must back out of the region and re-enter. Thankfully, you can fast travel to Paw Swap. There's another catch, you are not guaranteed the treasure tips, so you can go a few attempts with nothing. Also, when you get to the later treasures in the region, they'll now require you to follow additional steps. Example being that the first treasure you get will be there, but the 8th treasure will make you go to one spot, then another, and potentially another before retrieving the treasure. It is extremely boring, and would have taken so much longer if I didn't guide each location. So we unlock a trophy for finding our first treasure, then finding all the treasure within a single locale, and finally, finding all treasure would unlock me the platinum trophy for Monster Hunter World Iceborne. Monster Hunter World and Iceborne are finally gonna come to an end. As soon as I pick up this last piece of treasure, I will unlock the platinum trophy. Baboa treasure. There we go, Ultimate Collector, find all treasure. Conqueror of the Hinterlands. Unlock all trophies for Monster Hunter World Iceborne. A platinum trophy for its DLC. 1.2% of players earned. Ultra rare. Well, here's the end of Monster Hunter World and Iceborne, as well as my guild card for those who are interested. Roughly 400 hours for both platinum trophies. Could you go quicker? Most likely. Overall, I had a lot of fun with this game and I still want to play more. Just like before, this trophy list isn't difficult, just very time consuming. If you've enjoyed the video, why not drop a like and subscribe for more future 100%s. Thanks for watching and have a good one.